So I recently stumbled across something completely wild, and it is a religion that worships a flying spaghetti monster. Yes, you heard that right. It is a divine being made out of spaghetti and meatballs, carbs and sauce. But here's the twist, it's not really about food at all. It's about faith and logic and what counts as a real religion. And honestly, it might just be one of the smartest forms of protest I've ever seen. Let's start with the basics. The Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, also known as Pastafarianism, was created in 2005 by a man named Bobby Henderson. He wasn't a priest or a politician, he was just a 25-year-old physics grad who was frustrated. At the time, the Kansas School Board decided to vote on allowing intelligent design to be taught in public schools in the science curriculum. It's basically a repackaged form of creationism. This was voted in as an alternative in a science class to evolution. Henderson saw the flaw in this immediately. If you can teach one supernatural theory on creation and evolution, then you should be able to teach all supernatural theories on creation and evolution, logically speaking. So he wrote an open letter to the Kansas School Board, and he said, if you are going to be teaching intelligent design, then you also have to teach my theory, that the world was created, the universe was created by a flying spaghetti monster. It sounds ridiculous, right? But that's kind of the point of it. It was pure satire. He basically held up a mirror to the system and said, if you're going to accept a belief without evidence, then you also have to accept my belief. And with that, a religion was born. Now, what makes this even more fascinating is that Henderson didn't just make a joke and move on from it, right? He actually created a whole religion. He built an entire belief system with sacred texts and rituals, traditions, even an understanding of the afterlife. There is the Gospel of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, and it basically lays out the creation of the world. That 5,000 years ago, a flying spaghetti monster created the world, but he was slightly drunk, and because he was slightly drunk, that's why there's so many flaws in the world. Logically, it makes sense to me. Those who follow Pastafarianism, I guess they would be called Pastafarians. Pastafarians have a moral guideline that they follow. It's called the 8 I'd rather you not, right? So think of them as anti-commandments. Instead of rules like thou shalt not, it's more so I'd rather you not. So I'd rather you not hurt me. I'd rather you not use a name that I don't like. It's really funny, but it's also deeply humane. Pastafarians dress up as pirates because pirates are the flying spaghetti monster's chosen people, and they claim that because there was a decline in pirates, that's why we started to have things like global warming. Again, it's satire, but it's a really brilliant commentary on bad science, right? The fact that correlation does not mean causation. So, what started off as a parody ended up surprisingly becoming a well structured system, right? It wasn't just mocking religion, but it was calling us out on how we define what a legitimate religion is. And here's what I find so fascinating about this. And I know I'm saying fascinating a lot, but come on. The Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. It's fascinating. The Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster is a religion that is built to question religions. It's a reminder that religion itself, the institutions, the interpretations, they're all socially constructed. The divine is beyond us, right? And things like the word of God, prophets, they're beyond us. But the way that we interpret these things, the way that we practice it, it's all human. And that's not like a bad thing or a taboo thing. It just means that we have to hold ourselves accountable. As someone who practices Islam, I believe deeply in my faith, right? It shapes who I am. But that doesn't mean I turn my critical thinking off. The flying spaghetti monster, the creation of this, it basically forces us to pause and ask ourselves, am I believing this because it's true to me, or am I believing this because I was told it's true to me? It's a reminder that blind faith in anything, religious and spiritual, but also outside of that, it can lead us to becoming hypocrites. And that even sacred institutions can become the very thing that they were meant to protect us from. Any belief system, no matter how free or ironic it starts, has the possibility of turning into a rigid system that leads to things like blind faith, right? Any belief system, religious or not. And I think that's the ultimate mirror that Henderson was trying to show us. He wasn't just holding a mirror to religion, to the Kansas School Board, but he was also holding up a mirror to society itself, to us as humans, and how we come together to create community, right? How we come together to define what counts as real faith, how we come together to make sense of it and to defend it. We crave order, meaning, and belonging, even when we're rebelling. So maybe the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster isn't just mocking religion, but it also shows us how easy it is to create one, how easy it is to create something to get others to believe in. Now, Pastafarianism Today, it has a wide reach. So it was created in 2005, it's 2025. It's been 20 years. It's been 20 years, and now you have people having legally recognized marriages as Pastafarians in New Zealand. In the Netherlands, they accept wearing a colander on your head as religious attires. And even in some countries, or not countries, even in some states in the United States, people have gotten their driver's license picture taken with a colander on their head because it's religious attire. So, what initially started off as a joke, as satire, as a form of protest, has now become a genuine belief system for some. And that tension between parody and faith is what makes it so fascinating. It forces courts, governments, even ourselves to redefine or re-understand what counts as religion. If a belief brings community, meaning, a moral structure, then who's to say it's not real? At the end of the day, what I really appreciate about the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster is how honest it is. It's asking us to laugh. Yeah, it's a joke. It started off as a parody. But it's also asking us to think. It's asking us to think about the stories that we're told and the rituals that we follow and the things that we repeatedly do without even asking the question why. Because maybe, just maybe, the most spiritual thing any of us can do is to stay curious, to consistently ask ourselves why, to check in with our faith, and make sure that we're approaching it from a place of true belief for ourselves, not true belief for someone else. So that's it for today's video. I had a lot of fun researching the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. It was really interesting. And I believe September 15th or 19th, something along those lines, is their holy day. And everyone like dresses up as pirates and stuff. So September's already passed this year, but next year I'll see if in my area there are Pastafarians coming together and celebrating, because I would really love to hear more from people who do consider themselves Pastafarians, right? How do you show up in the world? How do you connect with yourself, with others, with the world, with that which is beyond, which in this case is the Flying Spaghetti Monster. So I'm curious, but we'll see. So until next time, keep asking, keep noticing, and keep this conversation blooming.